Afraid, emotions getting in your way. Afraid, but why you let me fall in love if you're afraid to commit? And don't call me in the middle of the night and say that you're not able to be loved. That's not right. No, I don't wanna be that one. Still a million miles from you, so I'm gonna let you go. Oh boy, if you only knew. Not a day goes by without you on my mind. You couldn't go on together. You said nothing lasts forever, though you can't deny. Hold it all inside. No, you can trust me. Just close your eyes, knowing that I'm around. I'll be around. Yeah. You're not scared of love, just scared of love. Alright, alright, enough. Just tell me if you want my love or not, or not. 'Cause I don't wanna be that one. Still a million miles from you, yeah. So I'm gonna let you go. Oh boy, if you only knew. Not a day goes by without you on my mind. You couldn't go on together. You said nothing lasts forever, though you can't deny. Hold it all inside. No, you can trust me. Just close your eyes, knowing that I'm around. I don't wanna be that one. No, still a million miles from you. So I'm gonna let you go. You go. Oh boy, if you only knew. Not a day goes by without you on my mind. You couldn't go on together. You said nothing lasts forever, though you can't deny. Hold it all inside. No, you can trust me. Just close your eyes, knowing that I'm around.
Tell him I need my money right now. Promise the juice, they stole out my crown. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup, yeah. But don't waste my energy, my energy. I don't got much, don't be wasting all my energy. I keep it tight, don't let nobody get close to me. My heart is right, don't question my integrity. No, I thought we would be just fine, and I thought your heart was like mine. But let me find out, you've been going around throwing shots, running plots. Come on, man, tryna block my blessings, but no need for comparisons. What's from me won't be from me. Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow through. But pay me what you owe me for, I make what you've been saying about me true, true. Tell him I need my money right now. Promise the juice, they stole out my crown. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup, yeah. Don't waste my loyalty, my loyalty. I let you in back then because I couldn't see, but now it's clear you ain't ever been true to me. My intuition ain't ever lied, I had to leave. Handle your business, do what you think you need to do to get your revenge. but you won't break me, God, as my witness. Past the point of no return, I'm on a mission. Tryna block my blessings, but no need for comparisons. What's from me won't be from me. Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow through. But pay me what you owe me for, I make what you've been saying about me true. True. Tell him I need my money right now. Probably the juice they stole out my crown. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup it. Don't waste my.
She's putting all of her cards down on the table, knowing there's no way that you'll be able to win this one. But she's somebody else in the making. First, she just gotta stop all the faking, and she'll be there. But she's wondering if it's gonna feel like she's forever. Wondering if it's gonna feel like this whenever she leaves her safe space. She leaves her safe space. Wondering if it is forever, or is there some place that will make her feel better? Make her feel better. Then that's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. Somebody said, don't be afraid of loving yourself, 'cause that is all you got in the end. You got in the end. But she's wondering if it's gonna feel like she's forever. Wondering if it's gonna feel like this whenever she leaves her safe space. She leaves her safe space. Wondering if it is forever, or is there some place that will make her feel better? Make her feel better. Then that's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. Talking to myself 'cause I don't know what I want. Yeah, I'm here talking to myself like someone's gonna respond. I'm getting tired of myself 'cause I don't know what I want. But I'm not out here on my own. Wondering if it is forever, or is there some place that'll make her feel better? Make her feel better. And that's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. Yeah, that's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. Talking to myself 'cause I don't know what I want. Yeah, I'm here talking to myself like someone's gonna respond. I'm getting tired of myself 'cause I don't know what I want. But I'm not out here on my own.
Yeah. I want a house in the hills I pay big bills for. I ain't got in pocket. I wanna empty out my wallet. I wanna stop motion, stand still. Wallace and Gromit. I wanna talk more endlessly. I wanna neurotically vomit. I want more dollars from my mama. I want a palace in Prada. I want a Gucci bag where I can store my sorrows and hardships. I wanna gold plate my finance. I want endless tomorrows. I want a lot more than I got right now. But that's the problem. You could give me every little thing I'd ever want, but I'd never have enough till the day I had it all. Yeah. You can give me every little thing I ever want, but I'd never have enough till the day I had it.
Oh, I see what you want, baby, but it might be just a little more than I can give you.
Second thought, I want $1 for everyone, not just for my mama. I want to hit the ball out on random pedestrians. I want my questions to be answered till my brain bored and questionless. I want more self-assurance. I don't ever want to second guess. I want someone to shut the fuck up. Lest he trying to tell me yes again. I want so many best friends that I can't tell what friendship is. I want the diamonds, gold, and glitter. I want fast cars I'll never whip. I want it all till I'm empty in my castle of everything.
Oh, I see what you want, baby, but it might be just a little more than I can give you.
I want a cushy job that pay big bills and cheap thrills. Wanna mob out with my homies like Timmy, Tommy, and Dill. I'm not trying to be famous, okay, maybe a lil. Since I'm a rapper, I should buy me some grills and gold frills that I can sleep on while I contemplate pills and peep on, hold still. Might sedate you, just a fire at will. I got an appetite for hardship, big fish meets krill. Don't sleep, don't spill, I ain't got my fill. I want the beauty queen to make me show my pearly whites. The type of movie scene that make you count your blessings twice. It's not the only thing that's on my list, I checked it twice and sent it off to Santa's elves like I've been playing nice.
I see what you want. Oh, I see what you want. Oh, I see what you want.
You broke my heart 1,000,000 times. Can't count the times I made you cry. Oh, it's such a mess now, and we're burning out. I get so sad at the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. I can't bear the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. You're still perfect as the day goes by. Even the worst ones hate, they make me smile. I stop the world if it would give us time, yeah, to work things out. Afraid, emotions getting in your way. Afraid, but why you let me fall in love if you're afraid to commit? And don't call me in the middle of the night and say that you're not able to be loved. That's not right. No, I don't wanna be that one. Still 1,000,000 miles from you, so I'm gonna let you go. Oh boy, if you only knew, not a day goes by without you on my mind. You couldn't go on together. You said nothing lasts forever, though you can't deny. Hold it all inside. No, you can trust me. Just close your eyes, knowing that I'm around.
Tell him I need my money right now. Brought me the juice, they stole out my crown. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup, yeah. But don't waste my energy, my energy. I don't got much, don't be wasting all my energy. I keep it tight, don't let nobody get close to me. My heart is right, don't question my integrity. No, I thought we would be just fine, and I thought your heart was like mine. But let me find out, you've been going around throwing shots, running plots. Come on, man, tryna block my blessings, but no need for comparisons. What's from me won't be from me. Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow through. But pay me what you owe me for I make what you've been saying about me true, true. Tell him I need my money right now. Brought me the juice, they stole out my crown. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup, yeah. Don't waste my loyalty, my loyalty. I let you in back then because I couldn't see, but now it's clear you ain't ever been true to me. My intuition ain't never lied, I had to leave. Handle your business, do what you think you need to do to get your revenge. But you won't break me, God as my witness. Past the point of no return, I'm on a mission. Tryna block my blessings, but no need for comparisons. What's from me won't be from me. Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow through. But pay me what you owe me for I make what you've been saying about me true, true. Tell him I need my money right now. Brought me the juice, they stole out my crown. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup, yeah. Don't waste my.
She's putting all of her cards down on the table, knowing there's no way that you'll be able to win this one. But she's somebody else in the making. First, she just gotta stop all the faking, and she'll be there. But she's wondering if it's gonna feel like this forever. Wondering if it's gonna feel like this whenever she leaves her safe space. She leaves her safe space. Wondering if it is forever, or is there some place that will make her feel better? Make her feel better. Then that's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. Somebody said, don't be afraid of loving yourself, 'cause that is all you got in the end. You got in the end. But she's wondering if it's gonna feel like this forever. Wondering if it's gonna feel like this whenever she leaves her safe space. She leaves her safe space. Wondering if it is forever, or is there some place that will make her feel better? Make her feel better. Then that's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. to myself like someone's gonna respond. I'm getting tired of myself cause I don't know what I want. But I'm not out here on my own. Wondering if it is forever, or is there some place that'll make her feel better? Make her feel better. And that's where she'll go. Talking to myself like someone's gonna respond. I'm getting tired of myself cause I don't know what I want. But I'm not out here on my own.
Yeah. I want a house in the hills I pay big bills for. I ain't got in pocket. I wanna empty out my wallet. I wanna stop motion, stand still. Wallace and Gromit. I wanna talk more endlessly. I wanna neurotically vomit. I want more dollars from my mama. I want a palace in Prada. I want a Gucci bag where I can store my sorrows and hardships. I wanna gold plate my partners. I want endless tomorrows. I want a lot more than I got right now. But that's the problem. You could give me every little thing I'd ever want, but I'd never have enough till the day I had it all. Yeah, you can give me every little thing I ever want, but I'd never have enough till the day I had it all.
Oh, I see what you want, baby, but it might be just a little more than I can give you.
Second thought, I want $1 for everyone, not just for my mama. I wanna hit the ball out on random pedestrians. I want my questions to be answered till my brain bored and questionless. I want more self-assurance. I don't ever want to second guess. I want soda to shut the fuck up. Less heat trying to tell me yes again. I want so many best friends that I can't tell what friendship is. I want the diamonds, gold, and glitter. I want fast cars I'll never whip. I want it all till I'm empty in my castle of everything.
Oh, I see what you want, baby, but it might be just a little more than I can give you.
I want a cushy job that pay big bills and cheap thrills. Wanna mob out with my homies like Timmy, Tommy, and Dill. I'm not trying to be famous, okay, maybe a lil. Since I'm a rapper, I should buy me some grills and go.
You broke my heart a million times. Can't count the times I made you cry. Oh, we're such a mess now, and we're burning out. I get so sad at the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. The thought of losing you. I'm losing you. You're still perfect as the day goes by. Even the worst ones hate, they make me smile. I stop the world if it would give us time, yeah, to work things out, to work things out, to work things out, to work things out, yeah, yeah, to work things out, to work things out. Oh, yeah, to work things out, to work things out. Can we be honest? You're my comfort zone. Whatever I say, don't let me go. I know you're angry, babe, and I am cold. I get so sad at the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. I can't bear the thought of losing you. I'm losing
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. I had to switch my audio. I think you guys can probably hear this. Can you hear this? Test 1 2 3. Is that clear? I think I need to do a reboot, but if I do a reboot, I got to end the stream. So can you hear the music and my voice? Let me know if you can hear the music and my voice. And then I could do this. I could fix this later. I think it just needs a reboot. Before we continue, you guys, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know something. Y'all over there talking to each other. Talk to me. Okay, good. Thank you, Miss Dre. Jeez. Y'all over there talking to each other, tell each other good morning and shit. I'm over here trying to ask y'all if y'all can hear me. Yeah. Sending salutes. Can you hear Shannon? All right. Cool. Good morning. Welcome to another chapter of Rich People Read. Hey, Heather. How are you? Good morning, Heather. What up, Ryan? Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. For everybody else that's ignoring me, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you, Ryan. Let me know that you guys can hear me. Y'all over there having in your own world. Welcome to another chapter of Rich People Read, where we read a book a month to instruct you in the ways of the successful through the power of reading. We read a book a month. We are finishing up the last chapter of The Richest Man in Babylon. We're finishing up the last chapter of The Richest Man in Babylon. I'm not going to talk too much without further ado. We're going to just jump right into it, you guys, because we have 15 pages to read. It says 20, but I know 5 pages isn't really anything. It's something that I'm not going to read. It's like a bunch of references and crap like that. But the meat of this chapter, The Luckiest Man in Babylon, is 15 pages. So we're not going to talk long. I'm glad you guys are here. For those that don't know, this is a live book club. Rich People Read is a live book club where we read a book a month. I talk about the 2 ships, entrepreneurship and relationships. And we flip-flop each month on the topic. So one month we'll be reading a book that's pertaining to relationships. The next month we'll be reading a book that's pertaining to entrepreneurship or money, right? So last month, the month before last, we read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Last month we read Hold On to Your Nuts, relationship manual for men. It's the non-negotiable on unalterable terms. That's what your nuts are. And this month we're reading The Richest Man in Babylon. Everybody grab a physical copy of the book. It's only $4.98. The link is in the description of this video, so you can make sure that you grab the right version, because they got like a lot of different versions. Some of the versions is like $20. I saw one for $50. You gotta want to make sure you get the right one. This is only $5. This physical paperback book is only $5. I want you guys to have it. You've already read it. If you've been on this podcast every day that I've read it, you've already read the book. You just need to own it. You don't have to reread it. You can always go back to the parts that kind of meant to you and highlight them. But I want you to have the physical copy of the book. We're gonna get ready to get busy. So I want you guys to turn your volumes up, put your headphones on, put your earpods in, kick back, relax, listen to your boy Shan read to you this book. If you have the physical copy, get it out, grab a pen and a highlighter so you can highlight the important parts. If you have an ebook, fire up your Kindle or your iPad or your tablet and turn to chapter 10, The Luckiest Man in Babylon, and we're going to get ready to read that. I appreciate you guys being here. It's important, though, that everybody type the word salute in the chat. Everybody type the word salute in the chat. And the reason why you're typing the word salute in the chat is because I wonder if I should keep it on here. Anyways, I'm thinking of something else. The reason why you want to type the word salute in the chat is because the contest is running. I do a giveaway every time I go live, right? And so I want you guys to type salute, and it's gonna pick it up. It's gonna pick it up. If you notice that the system is grabbing people to say, "Hey man, I know you're here. You're good to go." That's because they typed the word salute in the chat. It's only for the the live members that's watching the show live. And at the end, we'll pick a random winner. It's just that simple. See how Ryan just now typed salute in the chat and the system was like, yo, Ryan, we got you, bruh. You know, just like Thomas Thompson typed salute in the chat and the system said, yo, we got you covered. You good to go. That's how we do that. So we'll be giving away some stuff at the end of the show. Listen, those that don't type salute is not entered. That's all you got to do. You ain't got to do nothing else. Next thing you know, you get a gift card. It's just that simple. All right, here we go. Oh, it looks like I got is that a super chat? Oh, everybody throw your ones up.
One isn't easy.
Everybody throw your ones up. We got a blessing. We got a $1.99 blessing from Prod by Pack TV. You know what? He blessed us 2 days ago. Prod by Pack blessed this channel 2 days ago with an investment in this show. And he came back 2 days later today and blessed us again. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Hooah! Everybody, please throw your ones up.
Being number one isn't easy.
That's what we do. When anybody blesses us with a super chat or blessings to this channel, all the soldiers throw the ones up. Throw their ones up to recognize that being number one isn't easy. In addition to that, I'm gonna go ahead and make my man the stream sponsor, and we're gonna jump into the reading. We're gonna jump right into it, you guys. It's not gonna be long today because I'm not gonna do too many sidebars. We're gonna just jump right into it. Prod by, it's all one word. Prod by Pack TV. I wonder, is that a podcast, Prod by Pack TV? If you have a podcast, shoot it. Let us know, man, so we can go follow you and support you at your channel. Let us know if you have a show right here on YouTube. I don't know. Hopefully you do, and if you do, I want everybody to go support Prod by Pack. Oh, what is Pack TV? What happened to the first part? Hold on. There we go. All right, Prod by Pack is in the house. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's switch over to our read screen. All right, last chapter of Richest Man in Babylon, and then we move on to a whole new book. I'm excited to start that next week for the month of June, and we'll get started there. Right now, we are on chapter 10 of The Richest Man in Babylon. It's an easy read. This book was super easy to read. It's very thin, and this chapter is going to be very fast. It's the very last chapter that we're reading, and it's The Luckiest Man in Babylon. For those that no show yet, coming soon, let us know. Keep us updated, Prod by Pack. Keep us updated when your show comes out, when you go live with your channel, man. I want as many people to have channels and it's all about information. We got to give information out, man. Everybody has different things that everybody has expert level genius in them. You need to share that information. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you'll do for free, make sure you talk about it on your show. All right. All right, guys. The Luckiest Man in Babylon. At the head of his caravan, proudly rode Sharu-Nada, the merchant prince of Babylon. He liked fine cloth and wore rich and becoming robes. He liked fine animals and sat easily upon his spirited Arabian stallion. To look at him, one would hardly have guessed his advanced years. He probably looked young. He's probably old like old Shan, but looked young. Certainly, they would not have suspected that he was inwardly troubled. The journey from Damascus is long and the hardships of the desert many. These he minded not. He didn't care. The Arab tribes are fierce and eager to loot rich caravans. These he feared, not for his many fleet-mounted guards, were a safe protection. About the youth at his side, whom he was bringing from Damascus, was he disturbed. He was worried about the young people that was by his side. This was Hadan Gula, the grandson of his partner of other years, Arad Gula, to whom he felt he owed a debt of gratitude which could never be repaid. He would like to do something for this grandson, but the more he considered this, the more difficult it seemed because of the youth himself. Eyeing the young man's rings and earrings. Oh, they rocked earrings back then? Okay. Eyeing the young man's rings and earrings, he thought to himself, he thinks jewels are for men. Still he has his grandfather's strong face. But his grandfather wore no such gaudy robes. Yet I sought him to come, hoping I might help him get a start for himself and get away from the wreck his father has made of their inheritance. You see, Hadangula broke in upon his thoughts. Why dost thou work so hard? Why do you work so hard, riding always with your caravan upon its long journeys? Do you ever take time to enjoy life? Sharunada smiled. To enjoy life, he repeated. What would thou do to enjoy life if thou were Sharanuda? What would you do if you were me, if you wanted to enjoy life? Well, if I had wealth equally to yours, I would live like a prince. Never across the hot desert would I ride. I would spend the shekels as fast as they come to my purse. I would wear the richest robes and rarest of jewels. That would be a life to my liking, a life worth living. Both men laughed. Thy grandfather, your granddaddy, he wore no jewels. Sharut spoke before he thought. He continued jokingly, would thou leave no time for work? Would you not work? You wouldn't do nothing. You just sit around all day and just chill. You wouldn't make no time to work. Work was made for slaves, Hadangula responded. Sharanada bit his lips, but made no reply. Riding in silence until the trail led them to the slope. Here he reined his mount and pointing to the green valley far away. You see right there? There is the valley. Look far down, and thou canst faintly see the walls of Babylon. Look closely. It's hard to see, but the walls of Babylon is right there. The tower is the temple of Bel. If thine eyes are sharp, if you could see, you may even see the smoke from the eternal fire upon its crest. So that is Babylon? Always have I longed to see the wealthiest city in the world, Hadangula commented. Babylon, where my grandfather started his fortune. Where if he was still alive, we would not be so sorely pressed. Why wish his spirit to linger on earth beyond its allotted time? Thou and thy father, you and your dad, can well carry on his good works. You don't need your granddaddy here. You and your daddy can do the work. Alas, of us, neither has his gift. We're not as good as our granddad. My father and myself not know his secret for attracting the golden shekels. We don't know what my granddaddy did. We don't know how to do it like him. Sharu Nada did not reply, but gave rein to his mount and rode thoughtfully down the trail to the valley. Behind them followed the caravan in a cloud of reddish dust. Sometime later, they reached the king's highway and turned south through the irrigated farms. 3 old men were plowing a field. They caught Sharonadu's attention. They seemed strangely familiar. How ridiculous. One does not pass a field after 40 years and find the same men plowing there. Yet something within him said they were the same men from 40 years ago, the last time he was here. One, with an uncertain grip, held the plow. The others laboriously plodded beside the oxen, ineffectually beating them, just beating the oxen, but they wasn't doing shit. It wasn't affecting them, with their barrel staves and keeping them pulling. 40 years ago, he had envied these men. He wanted to be these men. How gladly he would have exchanged places back then, 40 years ago. But what a difference now. With pride, he looked back at his trailing caravan, well-chosen camels and donkeys, loaded with high valuable goods from Damascus. All of this but one of his possessions. He pointed to the plowers, saying, still plowing the same field where they were 40 years ago. Sidebar, everybody. My father, Curtis Lee Rawls Jr., worked for Los Angeles Unified School District for 42 years. He retired at 42 years of service with the LA Unified School District. A teacher, he's been an administrator, he's been a coach, he's been up and down the ladder through all these different positions. I watched him growing up. He became he joined the LA Unified School District before I was born. I was born in 72. He joined LA Unified School District in 1966. 1966. He finished and retired completely in 2008. He was with the LA Unified School District for 42 years. It's a trip to have seen him my entire life working for them, doing the same thing. And I know how he felt. I'll keep that private, but I know how he felt at the end of his career. So it's interesting that he's seeing these men plowing that field. Now, when he was a young man 40 years ago, he saw these guys plowing that field and he envied them. He wished he had their job. He wished he was in their position. How many people do you guys know that's been at their job for a long time? Or how many people do you guys know that just started something recently, maybe 5, 10 years ago, maybe only 2 or 3 years ago, and you kind of envy them? You wish you were in their position. Do you still feel that they will be as happy 20 or 40 years later as they are today? Maybe they're not doing exactly what their heart dreamed of. Maybe they're just working at a job. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're just working at a job. Do you plan to be there for 20 or 40 years? Not doing what you really want to do, not being happy, not being fulfilled in your career, just earning that paycheck that you get every 2 weeks. Just something to think about. I don't have any position on it. It's just a little something for you to think about. Hey, Kimberly, good morning. Let's continue. He pointed to the plowers, saying, still plowing the same field where they were 40 years ago. They look it, but why thinkest thou they are the same? They look the same, but why do you think they're the same guys? Because I saw them there. Sharu Nada replied. Recollections were racing rapidly through his mind. Why could he not bury the past and live in the present? Then he saw, as in a picture, the smiling face of Arad Gula. The barrier between himself and the cynical youth beside him dissolved. But how could he help such a superior youth with his spendthrift ideas and bejeweled hands? Work he could offer in plenty to willing workers, but not for men who considered themselves too good for work. That's what these kids thought. They thought they were too good for work. I got jobs, but I'm not going to offer no jobs to no little spoiled brats who think they're too good for work because they think work is for slaves, remember? Yet he owed it to Arad Gula to do something. Not a half-hearted attempt. He and Arad Gula had never done things that way. They were not that sort of men. A plan came almost in a flash to him. There were objections. He must consider his own family and his own standing. It would be cruel. It would be hurt. It would be cruel. It would hurt. Being a man of quick decision, he waived objections and decided to act. Would you be interested in hearing how your worthy grandfather and myself joined in partnership, which proved to be so profitable? He questioned. Why not just tell me how you made the golden shekels? That's all I need to know, the young man replied. He parried. I don't want to know all the fucking stories, man. Just tell me how you got the bread. Take me straight to the end. Cut to the chase. Cut to the chase. Skip all the extra formalities. Sharu Nada ignored the reply and continued. We start with those men plowing. I was no older than you. As the column of men in which I marched approached, good old Megiddo, the farmer, scoffed at the slipshod way in which they plowed. Megiddo was chained next to me. Look at the lazy fellows, he protested. The plowholder makes no effort to plow deep, nor do the beaters keep the oxen in furrow. How can they expect to raise good crop with poor plowing? Didst thou, Megiddo, do you, Megiddo, was chained to thee? Hadan Gula asked in surprise. He was chained, Megiddo was chained to you? What do you mean he was chained to you? Yes, with bronze collars around our necks and a length of heavy chain between us. Next to him was Zabado, the sheep thief. I had known him in Harun. At the end was a man we called Pirate because he told us not his name. We judged him as a sailor as he had entwined serpents tattooed upon his chest in sailor fashion. The column was made up of thus so men can walk in fours. It was always rows of 4 men chained to each other as we plowed this field. 4 men tied with collars around our neck, bronze collars locked around our necks, and heavy chains in between us. Thou wert chained as a slave? Hadan Gula asked incredulously. Did not thy grandfather tell thee I was once a slave? Your granddaddy didn't tell you that I used to be a slave, bro? He didn't tell you that? He often spoke of thee, but never hinted of this. He was a man thou could trust with innermost secrets. You too, are a man I may trust. Am I not right? Charles nodded, looked at him squarely in the eye. You may rely upon my silence, but I am amazed. Tell me, how did you become a slave? Shaul Nada shrugged his shoulders. Any man may find himself a slave. It was a gaming house and barely beer that I brought my disaster. I was the victim of my brother's indiscretions. In a brawl, because we had a bar fight. In a brawl, he killed his friend. I was bonded to the widow by my fatir, desperate to keep my brother from being persecuted under the law. When my father could not raise the silver to free me, she in anger sold me to the slave dealer. So, do you guys remember the story about taking on somebody else's burdens in the story about between the ox and the donkey, the ass? Sidebar. This is a sidebar. Remember the story in this book a couple chapters back where you don't take on somebody else's burdens? Look what happened right here. Him and his brother was drunk in a bar. They got into a bar fight 5,000 years ago. His brother killed a man, but to protect his brother, he took the rap. And so he became a slave to the wife of the man that died, that got killed. Because his daddy didn't have enough silver to free him to the woman, because that's what had to happen in order for him to get out of slavery. She sold his ass to a slave trader. All because his drunk brother got in a fight and killed somebody. So now he a slave because he took on somebody else's burdens. Let's continue. What a shame and injustice, Hadan Gular protested. But tell me, how did you regain your freedom? We shall come to that, but not yet. Let me continue telling my story. As we passed The plowers jeered at us. One did doff his ragged hat and bow low, calling out, "Welcome to Babylon, guests of the king. He waits for thee on the city walls where the banquet is spread, mud bricks and onion soup." With that, they laughed uproariously. Pirate flew into a rage and cursed them roundly. "What do these men mean by the king awaiting us on the walls?" I asked him. "To the city walls ye march to carry bricks until the back breaks. Maybe they beat thee to death before it breaks. They won't beat me though. I'll kill them." Then Megiddo spoke up. It doesn't make sense to me to talk of masters beating willing. Hard work, it doesn't make sense to me to talk of masters beating their willing, hard-working slaves to death. That doesn't make sense to me. Why would a master want to do that? Masters like good slaves and treat them well. "Who wants to work hard?" commented Zabado. "Those plowers are wise fellows. They're not breaking their backs. They're just letting on as if they be." "You can't get ahead by shirking," Megiddo protested. "If your plow of a hectare, that's a good day's work." A hectare is like an acre, right? So if you plow an acre worth of land, that's a good day's work. And any master knows it. But when you only plow a half of an acre, that's shirking. I don't shirk, bro. I like to work and I like to do good work. For work is the best friend I've ever known. It has brought me all the good things I've had, my farm and cows and crops and everything. Yeah. And where are these things now? Shit, you locked up with us. You got a chain around your neck. I figure it pays better to be smart and get by without working. You watch, Zabado. If we're sold to the walls, he'll be carrying the water bag or some easy job when thou, who like to work, will be breaking thy back carrying bricks. He laughed in his silly laugh. Terror gripped me that night. I could not sleep. I crowded close to the guard rope. And when the other people slept, I attracted the attention of Gadasso, who was doing the first guard watch. He was one of those brigand Arabs, the sort of rogue who, if he robbed you of thy purse, would think he must also cut your throat. That nigga was rough, right? He was the first guard, and if he robbed you, he'd kill you too. I said to him, "Tell me, Gadoso," I whispered, "when we get to Babylon, will we be sold to the walls detail?" But basically, the walls is the detail, and if you work the walls, the slaves will kill you, or you'll break your back carrying them heavy bricks. And so they're worried about getting sold to the walls detail. That's like going to Alcatraz or some shit like that, right? "Tell me, Gadoso," I whispered, "when we get to Babylon, will we be sold to the walls?" "Why want to know?" he questioned cautiously. "Canst thou not understand?" I pleaded. "I am young, man. I want to live. I don't want to be worked or beaten to death on the walls. Is there any chance for me to get a good master?" He whispered back, "I tell something. Thou good fellow, give Godoso no trouble. Most times we go first to the slave market. Listen now, when buyers come, tell them you're a good worker, like to work hard for a good master. Make them want to buy you. You not make them want to buy you, the next day you'll be carrying bricks. Mighty hard work. If you don't get sold first and make it and let motherfuckers know that you a good, strong slave and you love to work, you gonna get sold the next day. And the next day, your ass is going to the walls." After he walked away, I laid in the warm sand, looking up at the stars and thinking about work. What Megiddo had said about it being his best friend made me wonder if it would be my best friend. Certainly it would be if it helped me out of this. When Megiddo awoke, I whispered my good news to him. It was our one-way ray of hope as we marched towards Babylon. Late in the afternoon, We approach the walls and can see the lines of men like black ants climbing up and down the steep diagonal paths. As we drew closer, we were amazed at the thousands of men working. Some were digging in the moat, others mixed the dirt into mud bricks. The greatest numbers, the most men, were carrying the bricks in large baskets up those steep trails to the masons. Overseers cursed the laggards and cracked the bullock whips over the backs of those who failed to keep in line. Poor, worn out fellows were seen to stagger and fall beneath the heavy baskets, unable to rise back up again. If the lash failed to bring them to their feet, they were pushed to the side of the paths and left withering in agony. Soon, they would be dragged down to join the craven bodies beside the roadway to await unsanctified graves. Damn. As I beheld the ghastly sight, so this was what was awaited my father's son if he had failed at the slave market. If he didn't get sold at the slave market, this is what he ended up having to do. God damn. Gadoso had been right. We were taken through the gates of the city to the slave prison, and next morning marched to the pens in the market. Here, the rest of the men huddled in fear, and only the whips of our guard could keep them moving so buyers could examine them. Megiddo and myself eagerly talked to every man who permitted us to address him. The slave dealer brought soldiers from the king's guard who shackled Pirate and brutally beat him when he protested. As they led him away, I felt sorry for him. Megiddo felt that we would soon part. When no buyers were near, he talked to me earnestly to impress upon me how valuable work would be to me in the future. Some men hate it. They make it their enemy. Better to treat it like a friend. Make that. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Where was I? Where did I got distracted. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Oh, Megiddo, I'll just take it from the top. Megiddo felt that we would soon part. When no buyers were near, he talked to me earnestly to impress upon me how valuable work would be to me in the future. Some men hate it. They make it their enemy. Better to treat it like a friend, make thyself like it. Don't mind because it's hard. If thou thinkest about what a good house thou build, then who cares if the beams are heavy and is far from well to carry the water from the plaster? Promise me, boy, if thou get a master, work for him as hard as thou can. If he does not appreciate all you do, never mind. Remember, work well done does good to the man who does it. Work well done does good to the man who does it. It makes him a better man. He stopped as a burly farmer, came to the enclosure, and looked at us critically. Megiddo asked him about his farm and his crops, soon convincing him that he would be a valuable man. After violent bargaining with the slave dealer, the farmer drew a fat purse from beneath his robe and soon Megiddo had followed his new master out of sight. A few other men were sold during this morning. At noon, Godoso confided to me that the dealer was disgusted and would not stay over another night, but would take all who remained at sundown to the king's buyer. I was becoming desperate when a fat, good-natured man walked up to the wall and inquired if there was a baker among. I approached him. Why should a good baker like thyself, like me, seek another baker of inferior ways? Would it not be easier to teach a willing man like myself thy skilled ways? Look at me. I am young, I'm strong, and like to work. Give me a chance, and I'll do my best to earn gold and silver for your purse. Don't teach an old baker your tricks. Teach me. I don't know how to bake, but if you teach me and I'm willing to learn, I'll learn everything that I need to know without giving you any pushback on what I think I know because I was a baker beforehand. That's a smart way for him to sell himself. He was impressed by my willingness and began bargaining with the dealer who had never noticed me since he had bought me, but now waxed eloquent of my abilities, good health, and good disposition. I felt like a fat ox being sold to a butcher. At last, much to my joy, the deal was closed. I followed my new master away, thinking I was the luckiest man in Babylon. My new home was much to my liking. Nana Nade, my master, taught me how to grind the barley in the stone bowl that stood in the courtyard, how to build a fire in the oven, and then how to grind very fine the sesame flour for the honey cakes. I had a couch in the shed where his grain was stored. The old slave housekeeper, Swasti, fed me well and was pleased at the way I helped her with the heavy tasks. Here was the chance I had longed for to make myself valuable to my master, and I had hoped to find a way to earn my freedom. So now I got to prove myself so I can get the fuck out of here, right? I asked Nana Nade to show me how to knead the bread and to bake. This he did, much pleased at my willingness to learn. Later, when I can do this really well, I asked him to show me how to make the honey cakes. And soon I was doing all the baking. My master was glad to be idle and didn't have to do shit. But Swasti shook her head in disapproval. No work to do is bad for any man, she declared. I felt it was time for me to think of a way by which I might start to earn coins to buy my freedom. As the baking was finished at noon, I thought Nana Nade would approve if I found profitable employment for the afternoons and might share my earnings with me. Then the thought came to me, why not bake more of the honey cakes and peddle them to hungry men upon the streets of the city? I presented my plan to Nana Nade this way. If I can use my afternoons after the baking is finished to earn for thee some money, would it be only fair to thee to share my earnings with me, that I might have money of my own to spend for those things of which every man desires and needs? Fair enough. Fair enough, he admitted. When I told him of my plan to peddle our honey cakes, he was pleased. Here is what we'll do, he suggested. You sell them at 2 for a penny. Then half of the pennies will be mine to pay for the flour and the honey and the wood to bake them. And the rest I shall take half, and thou shalt keep half. So he's basically giving him 25%. I'm going to take 50% of it to pay for the materials. And then the other 50%, we're going to split 50-50. So I'm going to take 25 for me. You're going to keep 25 for you. And we're going to use 50% to pay for the materials. I was much pleased by this generous offer, that I might help that I might keep for myself 1/4 of my sales. That night, I worked late to make a tray upon which to display them. Nana Nade gave me one of his worn robes that I might look kind of well. You know, gave me some clothes to present myself. Right? That's right, Miss Dre. He presented his business plan. He's like, look, I just want a little bit of money so I can go shopping. No, he was trying to buy his freedom. And he was like, look, I get to keep 25% of what I make for sure. And I do all the work. I could do that. Nana Nade gave me one of his worn robes that I might look well, and Swasti helped me patch it and wash it clean. The next day, I baked an extra supply of honey cakes. They looked brown and tempting upon the tray as I went along the street, loudly calling my wares. At first, no one seemed interested in my cake, right? Shit. And I became discouraged, but I kept on. Later in the afternoon, as men became hungry, the cakes began to sell, and soon my whole tray was empty. Nana Nade was well pleased with my success and gladly paid me my share. I was delighted to own pennies. Megiddo had been right when he said a master appreciated good work from his slaves. That night, I was so excited over my success, I could hardly sleep and tried to figure out how much I can earn in a year and how many years it would be required to buy my freedom. As I went forth with my tray of cakes every single day, right, I soon found regular customers. One of these was none other than your grandfather, Aret Gula. He was a rug merchant and sold to the housewives, going from one end of the city to the other, accompanied by a donkey loaded high with rugs and a black slave to tend it. He would buy 2 cakes for himself and 2 cakes for his slaves, always tarrying to talk with me while they ate them. Your grandfather said something to me one day that I shall always remember. I like your cakes, bruh. But better still, I like the fine enterprise with which thou offerest them. Such spirit can carry thee far on the road to success. I like your food, but better than your food, I like the deal you struck up with your slave master. With that kind of business mindset, it'll take you far. How many of you guys, sidebar real quick, this makes me think of something. I've raised many people, not many, but I've raised some children into adulthood. And I remember my most recent attempting to raise a young girl into adulthood. I tried to teach her how to be, because I'm in fashion, right? I'm in fashion, and I was going to create a brand for her. And I was like, look, you go to school and these kids want this stuff. They come to school, and mind you, they went to school in Burbank. So it was a bunch of rich kids. And so I'm like, look, I think the first thing I tried to do was clothing, and that didn't really fly. And then I tried to say, look, sell sunglasses. Because I had this dealer over here that sold me wholesale sunglasses, dope shit, fly glasses, no name brand, plain but fly as fuck, right? And it would cost me maybe $1.50, $2 a pair. So I'd buy like a dozen for like $18, right? And she could sell them for $10, $20, right? So we're talking $1, we're talking $2 cost, $20 overhead. I mean $20 income. So it's, what's the percentage on that? Damn near 1,000% return on investment. But you got to have support. And if you don't have support and backup, then a lot of stuff won't work. So these weren't these weren't children that I birthed. I'll say it that way. Now, when I think about my 2 young sons, my children, the boys that I had, Law and Maverick, I'm going to teach them the ways of entrepreneurship. It's burned in me. I got it from my mother, and then I'm going to pass it on to them, right? I already know Maverick is going to want to be eager to do it. Law may be a little tough, right? But the fact that he saw in him that he made his business plan, he presented his business plan, he worked hard, even though nobody bought the cakes in the middle of the day, he kept going. And then when people got hungry at night, he sold the whole tray. He started making money. He started adding it up. And when he ran into these kids' grandfather, the grandfather was like, damn, bro, I like your cakes. These motherfuckers is good. But I like more than that, your mindset. How many of you, what Lakeisha say? Oh, persistence is key. Exactly. How many of you have an entrepreneur mindset, a mindset of a merchant when you were in middle school or high school? How many of you have grandchildren or children or maybe godchildren or nieces and nephews that you know would probably do well, but maybe their parents aren't really pushing them? Sometimes, let's just keep it real. Some people shouldn't have children. Some people shouldn't have, because they don't give a fuck about the best for their kids more so than they do themselves. And you have to sit by and watch that shit because it's like, damn, they're not my kids. There's nothing I can do. Sometimes you have children with somebody who don't give a damn about the kids. And you got this whole, you want to push them into greatness, but your baby daddy ain't shit. And so since you, the mother, wants to push the kids to become better and the baby daddy don't give a fuck, it's very frustrating. Or they sometimes even actively work against your efforts. For those that's discouraged, or for those that haven't had the opportunity to instill a sense of merchant into young ones, do it as soon as possible and don't quit. All you'll be doing is finding some young people who's going to love and appreciate the fuck out of you when they're older and they understand what you actually did to them and for them when they were young. Trust me when I tell you. All right, let's continue. Kimberly sold cupcakes. That's right. Let me see. But how can how can you understand, Harangula, what such words of encouragement could mean to a slave boy, lonesome in a great city, struggling with all he had in him to find a way out of his humiliation? As the months went by, I continued to add pennies to my purse. It began to have a comforting weight upon my belt. Work was proving to be my best friend, just as Megiddo had said. I was happy, but Swasti was worried. Thy master? I fear to have him spend so much time at the gaming house, she protested. He's spending too much time at the game house. He's having too much fucking time. He got too much free time. His woman, his master's woman, was worried about. I was overjoyed one day to meet my friend Megiddo upon the street. He was leading 3 donkeys loaded with vegetables to the market. I am doing mighty well, he said. My master does appreciate my good work for now. I'm a foreman. See, he does trust the marketing to me, and also he is sending for my family. Work is helping me to recover from my great trouble. Someday, it will help me to buy my freedom and once more own a farm of my own. Time went on, and Nana Nade became more and more anxious for me to return from selling. He couldn't wait for me to get back from my days out in the city selling the cakes. He would be waiting when I returned and would eagerly count and divide our money. He would also urge me to seek further markets and increase my sales. He was liking this money that I was bringing in. He was like, you hustling. He's waiting at the door for me to come back. Often, I went outside the city gates to solicit the overseers of the slaves building the walls. I hated to return to the disagreeable sights, but found the overseers to be liberal buyers. I hated going out there to see them slaves, but them motherfuckers, the slave owners, was dropping some bread. They love these cakes. One day, I was surprised to see Zabado waiting in line to fill his basket with bricks. He was gaunt and bent and his back was covered with welts and sores from the whips of the overseers. I was sorry for him and handed him a cake which he crushed into his mouth like a hungry animal. Seeing the greedy look in his eyes, I ran before he could grab my whole damn tray. Why does thou work so hard? Argula said to me one day, almost the same question thou asked me of today. Does thou remember? I told him what Megiddo had said about work and how it was proving to be my best friend. I showed him with pride my wallet of pennies and explained how I was saving them to buy my freedom. When thou art free, what will you do? When you get free, then what you gonna do? He inquired. Then I answered, I intend to become a merchant of my own. At that, he confided in me something I had never suspected. You know that I also am a slave. I am in partnership with my master. Whoa. Stop, demanded Hadangula. I would not listen to lies defaming my grandfather. My grandfather was no slave. His eyes blazed into anger. Sharonada remained calm. I honor him for rising above his misfortune and becoming a leading citizen of Damascus. You are his grandson, cast of the same mold. Are you a man enough to face true facts, or do you prefer to live under false illusions? You want me to tell you the truth, young man? Listen, I know you don't think, listen, I get it. But your granddaddy was a slave. Now, you want me to tell you the truth, or you want to keep living a lie? Do you want to know the fucking truth about your grandfather, or do you want me to lie? He was out there selling those vegetables. Your granddaddy was out there with slaves with him, as two black slaves with him, pulling a donkey full of rugs through the city from one end to the other. But one day he told me that he himself was a slave, because we'd meet up and I'd sell him some cakes and he'd eat two of them. He gave the slaves two. But he was actually a slave himself, and he was in a deal with his master. Hadangula straightened his saddle. In a voice suppressed with deep emotion, he replied, my grandfather was beloved by all. He's mad, right? The kid is mad. The motherfucker just told me his granddaddy was a slave. And he's like, man, fixing his saddle. My granddaddy was beloved by all. Countless were his good deeds. When the famine came, did not his gold buy grain in Egypt? And did not his caravan bring it to Damascus and distribute it to the people so none would starve? My granddaddy did that. Now you saying he was but a despised slave in Babylon? Had he remained a slave in Babylon, then he might well have been despised. But when, through his own efforts, he became a great man in Damascus, the gods indeed condoned his misfortunes and honored him with their respect, Sharudnada replied. After telling me that after your granddaddy told me that he was a slave, Sharudnada continued, he explained how anxious he had been to earn his freedom. Now that he had enough money to buy this, he was much disturbed as to what he should do. He was no longer making good sales and feared to leave the support of his master. I protested his indecision. Sing no longer to thy master. Get once again the feeling of being a free man. Act like a free man and succeed like one. Decide what thou desirest to accomplish, and then work will aid thee to achieve it. He went on his way, saying that he was glad I had shamed him for his cowardice. I told him, free yourself. The fuck you talking about? You worried about making enough money for your master and he's gonna be happy? You already got the money to free yourself? You already saved up enough bread to buy your freedom? Man, go get your goddamn freedom and hold your head up high. And his boy was like, you know what? Thank you, man. I appreciated that. I needed that push. One day, I went outside the gates again and was surprised to find a great crowd gathering there. When I asked the man for an explanation as to why everybody was gathering around, he replied, "Have you not heard? An escaped slave who murdered one of the king's guards has been brought to justice and will this day be flogged to death for his crime. Even the king himself is to be here." So dense, so many people, so dense was the crowd about the flogging post, I feared to go near lest my tray of honey cakes be upset. They gonna fucking make me tip my shit over. Therefore, I climbed up the unfinished wall to see over the heads of people. I was fortunate in having a view of Nebuchadnezzar himself as he rode by in his golden chariot. Never had I beheld such grandeur, such robes and hangings of gold cloth and velvet. I could not see the flogging, though. I can hear the shrieks of that, but I could hear the shrieks of that poor slave. I wondered how one so noble as our handsome king could endure to see such suffering. Yet when I saw he was laughing and joking with his nobles, I knew he was cruel and understood why such inhumane tasks were demanded of the slaves building the walls. He was a dope. I had admired him at first. He had his chariot was boy. He drove a fucking. He drove his car. He drove he drove a Maybach. He had Gucci on him. He had all the jewelry and gold. And I thought he was a good dude, but this dude is sitting there laughing and joking with his boys as somebody down there gets his ass beat to death. At that point, I realized he ain't shit. After the slave was dead, his body was hung up on a pole by a rope attached to his leg so all might see. As the crowd began to thin out, I went closer. On the hairy chest, I saw tattooed 2 entwined serpents. It was the pirate. The next time I met our Gula, he was a changed man. Full of enthusiasm, he greeted me. "Behold, the slave thou knewest is now a free man. There was magic in thy words. Already my sales and my profits are increasing now that I'm a free man. My wife is overjoyed. She was a free woman, the niece of my master." Oh, he married his master's niece? Ooh, that's gangster. Okay. "She much desires that we move to a strange city." She don't want to live here no more. She wants to get the fuck up out of this place. "Where no man shall know I was once a slave. Thus our children shall be above reproach for their father's misfortune. Work has become my best helper. It has enabled me to recapture my confidence and my skill to sell." I was overjoyed that I had been able, even in a small way, to repay him for the encouragement he had given to me. One evening, Swasti, that's his slave's woman, one evening Swasti came to me in deep distress. "Thy master is in trouble. I fear for him. Some months ago, he lost much of the gaming tables. He lost much at the gaming tables. He went gambling. He lost a lot of money in Vegas. Oh my God. He pays not the farmer for his grain nor his honey. He pays not the money lender. They are angry and threaten him. My man he blew his money in Vegas and didn't pay his bills. And now motherfuckers is coming for him. Why should we worry over his folly? We ain't his keepers." I replied thoughtlessly, like, that ain't my problem. Why should I worry about his goddamn problem? That ain't my problem. "Foolish youth, thou understandest not. The money lender didst he give thy title to secure a loan." He gave your title to your slave ship or slave. How do you say that? We'll call it a deed, a slave deed. He gave your slave deed. He put your slave deed up as collateral, motherfucker. You foolish. You laughing, but he put your slave deed up as collateral to secure the loan. Under the law, he can claim you and sell you. I know not what to do. He is a good master. Why, oh, why should such trouble come upon him? I'll tell you why, because his ass ran to Vegas and gambled the goddamn money away. But anyways, let's continue. Not were Swasti's fears groundless. While I was doing the baking next morning, the moneylender returned with a man he called Sassy. The man looked me over and said I would do. He looked me over and said he'll do. The moneylender waited for not for my master to return, but told Swasti to tell him that he took me. Damn. So the loan shark, the loan shark came to the house. The master's gone doing something. He said, take this nigga. And told Swasti, tell your man that I came and I took this. I ain't got to wait for him to come back. Just let him know that I'm taking this dude with me. The moneylender waited not for my master to return, but told Swasti to tell him that he had taken me. With only the robe on my back and the purse of pennies hanging safely from my belt, I was hurried away from the unfinished baking. I was whirled away from my dearest hopes as the hurricane snatches the tree from the forest and casts it into the surging sea. Again, a gaming house and barely beer had caused me my disaster. Once again, fucking gambling caused me a whole load of shit. Sassy, the guy that looked me up and down, he was blunt, gruff man. He was a blunt and gruff man. As he led me across the city, I told him of the good work I had been doing for Nanane. I told him about what I was doing for my last master. And I said, I hope to do good work for him. He replied, his reply offered no encouragement. I don't like this work. My master doesn't like it either. The king told him to send me to build a section of the Grand Canal. Master tells Sassy to buy more slaves, work hard, and finish quick. But how can any man finish a job so quick? Picture a desert with not a single tree, just low shrubs, a sun burning down with such fury, the water in our barrels became so hot, we could damn near barely drink it. Then picture rows of men going down into the deep excavation and lugging heavy baskets of dirt up soft, dusty trails from daylight until dark. Picture food served in open troughs from which we helped ourselves like swine, like pigs. We had no tents. We had no straw to make a bed. That was the situation in which I found myself. I buried my wallet in a marked spot. I took my pennies though, and I buried them motherfuckers deep in a marked spot, wondering if I could ever dig it up again. At first, though, this is my new job. This is what I had to do. You know, what can I say? I worked with goodwill. But as months dragged on, I felt my spirit breaking. Months of this shit dragged on, I felt my spirit breaking. I'm now a new slave in a new section. I'm out here working out in the deserts with no trees, no shade, and we got to walk up this soft ass sand carrying these heavy ass bags of dirt. Then the heat fever took hold of my weary body. I lost my appetite and I could scarcely eat the mutton and vegetables. At night, I would toss in unhappy wakefulness. In my misery, I wondered if Zabado had not the best plan to shirk and keep his back from being broken in work. Then I recalled my last sight of him and knew his plan was no good, because it was Zabado that got hung up, first beat to death, flogged because he killed a slave overseer, and they beat him to death where Nebuchadnezzar, the king, looked over and laughed. Then they strung his ass up by a foot so everybody can see him. So his plan didn't work. I thought of pirate with bitterness and wondered if he might just as well to fight and kill. The memory of his bleeding body reminded me that his plan was also useless. Then I remembered my last sight of Megiddo. His hands were deeply calloused from hard work, but his heart was light and there was happiness on his face. He was the best plan. Yet I was just as willing to work as Megiddo. He could not have worked harder. Why did not my work bring me happiness and success? Was it work that brought Megiddo happiness? Or was it happiness and success merely in the laps of the gods? Was I to work the rest of my life without gaining my desires, without happiness and success? Are you guys supposed to work at your job? Sidebar. Are you supposed to work at your job that you go to every day without any happiness and success of your desires? You're doing what you have to do, but do you have to do that for the rest of your life? All these questions were jumbled in my mind, and I had not an answer. Indeed, I was sorely confused. Several days later, when it seemed that I was at the end, we're almost done, y'all. 2 more pages. When I was at the end of my endurance and my questions still unanswered, Sassy, the new slave boss, the slave of slaves, sent for me. A messenger had come from my master to take me back to Babylon. I dug up my precious wallet where, I had kind of hid it. I wrapped myself in tattered remnants of my robe, and I was on my way heading back to Babylon because we are out here building this trophy and shit. But my master wanted me, so I had to go back to Babylon. As we rode, the same thoughts of a hurricane whirling me hither and thither kept racing through my feverish brain. I seemed to be living the weird words of a chant from my native town in Haroun, besetting a man like a whirlwind, driving him like a storm, whose course no one can foliate, whose destiny no one can foretell. Was I destined to ever thus be punished? For I knew not what. What new miseries and disappointments await me? Why do I have to go back to Babylon? What the fuck now? What now? When we rode to the courtyard of my master's house, imagine my surprise when I saw my friend, your grandfather, Arit Gula, awaiting me. He helped me down and hugged me like a long lost brother. As we went our way, I would have followed him as a slave should follow his master, but he would not permit me to follow him as if I was his master. He put his arms around me, saying, I hunted and looked everywhere for you. When I had almost given up, I met Swasti, who told me of the moneylender who directed me to your noble owner. I hard bargained. He did drive and made me pay an outrageous price, but thou art worth it. Thy philosophy and thy enterprise have been my inspiration to this new success. Megiddo's philosophy, not mine, I interrupted. Megiddo and yours. Thanks to both of you, we are going to Damascus, my man. And I need you as my partner. You see, he exclaimed, in one moment thou will be a free man. So saying, he drew from beneath his robe the clay tablet carrying my title, my deed, the ownership of me. This he raised above his head and he hurled it down to break it in 100 pieces upon the cobblestones. With glee, he stamped upon the fragrant fragments until they were but dust. He bought me for a high price. He took my deed, which was a clay tablet, remember 6 feet, 6 by 8 inches, held it above his head and busted, threw it down, broke it into small pieces and said, right now, brother, from this day forward, you are a motherfucking free man. I need you to go to Damascus with me so we can partner up and get this bread. Damn, I love stories like that. Tears of gratitude filled my eyes. I knew, as this chapter is titled, I was the luckiest man in Babylon. Work, you see, by this, in time of my greatest distress, did prove to be my best friend. My willingness to work enabled me to escape from being sold to join the slave gangs on the walls. It also so impressed your grandfather that he selected me to be his business partner. Then Haden Gulai questioned, was work my grandfather's secret key to golden shekels? It was the only key he had when I first knew him, Sharu Nada replied. Your grandfather enjoyed working. The gods appreciated his efforts and rewarded him liberally. I began to see how Dangula was speaking thoughtfully. Work attracted his many friends who admired his industry and the success it brought. Work brought him the honors he enjoyed so much in Damascus. Work brought him all those things I have approved. And I thought work was fit only for the slaves. It ain't just for the slaves. It's not just for the employees. Life is rich with many pleasures for men to enjoy. It is. Cars, boats, vacations, travel, the best foods, living in the best neighborhoods, wearing the best clothes, right? Life is rich with many pleasures for men and women to enjoy, Sharunada commented. Each has its place. I am glad that work is not reserved just for slaves. Were that the case, I would be deprived of my greatest pleasure. Many things do I enjoy, but nothing takes the place of work. Sharu Nada and Hadungula rode in the shadows of the towering walls upon the up to the massive bronze gates of Babylon. At their approach, the gate guard jumped to attention and respectfully saluted an honored citizen. With head held high, Sharu Nada led the long caravan through the gates and up into the streets of the city. I have always hoped to be a man like my grandfather, Hadangula confided to him. Never before did I realize just what kind of man my grandfather actually was. This has shown me this you have shown me. Now that I understand, I do admire him all the more and feel more determined to be like my grandfather. I fear I can never repay you for giving me the true key to his success. From today forward, I shall use this key of hard work. I shall start humbly as he started, which benefits my true station far better than jewels and fine robes. So saying, Hadangula pulled the jewels, baubles from his ears. He took his earrings out, and he took the rings off his fingers. Then the reigning horse, he dropped back and rode with deep respect behind the leader of the caravan. He took all that fancy shit off. He took off that Gucci belt. He took them diamond studs out his ears. He took off that gold chain, necklace, and rings and shit. The famous works of ancient Babylon, its walls, temples, hanging gardens, great canals, were built by slave labor, mainly prisoners of war, which explains the inhumane treatment they received. This force of workmen also included many citizens of Babylon and its provinces who had been sold into slavery because of crimes and financial troubles. It was a common custom for men to put themselves, their wives, or their children up as a bond to guarantee payment on a loan, legal judgments, or other obligations. In case of default, those who were put up for a bond were sold into slavery. Slaves, slave customs in ancient Babylon, though may seem inconsistent to us, were strictly regulated by law. Slavery was regulated by law. For example, a slave can own property of any kind, even other slaves upon which his master had no claim. So a slave who's owned by a master can have his own slaves, but the master doesn't own those slaves. Those slaves belong to the slave, even though he's owned by a master. Slaves intermarried freely with non-slaves. Children of free mothers were free. Most of the city's merchants were slaves. Many of these were in partnership with their masters and wealthy in their own right. There was rich slaves in Babylon. Goodness gracious. And ladies and gentlemen, what did we learn in this last chapter today? What did we learn? Yeah, the rest of it is just books to read. And I'm done. I'm done. We are done. Ladies and gentlemen, we knocked out another book. What the hell? What's going on? Hold on, you guys. Let me get my stuff together. We're done. We knocked out another book. We're done, you guys. We're moving on to a new book. I'm going to post it today so you guys can see what we're reading. I'm going to post it today so you can see what we're reading. I appreciate you guys being here, man. Ain't that crazy that we've read, or you've listened to me read more than most of us have read ever. Most of you guys have not listened to this many books or read this many books, because I'm gonna just call it reading, because whether you read it or I read it to you, you're reading. Most of you have not read this much in your entire life. Shout out to you guys, man. I appreciate you for being here. And I want to give a shout out to the super chat that just flowed in. Sherwin Thomas, everybody throw your ones up.
Being number one isn't easy.
Throw your ones up to Sherwin Thomas.
Being number one isn't easy.
For the super chat, and he doesn't have anything to say. He just wanted to bless the channel with a super chat. No comment. No comment. Let's go ahead and update him as the stream sponsor. Sherwin. Sherwin Thomas is the new stream sponsor. Appreciate you. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for the investment in the channel. Thank you for that blessing. I appreciate you, Sherwin. Listen, you guys, we read. That's what we do. I'm so happy you guys are here with me. I'm in my studio right now. I'm getting ready to work out. I got my shoes kicked off. We just chilling. We like fans. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like you guys are sitting around just listening to me. That's how I really feel. Thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. What's up, Rashawn? What up, Princessa? I appreciate you guys. I don't know how else to keep saying thank you. I know you probably get tired of me saying thank you. What up, Jazzy? We are done for the day. I got a lot of work I got to go take care of real quick. Please subscribe to the channel, you guys. It helps me out. Subscriptions help me out. They're free, doesn't cost you anything, doesn't bother you. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when I do go live. Like this video and join the SR Army. My name is Mr. Shannon Rawls. Tune in next time to Rich People Read. Reading is the way to expand your mind and your bank account. My name is Mr. Shannon, and you, my friends, are dismissed.
Yeah. Escucha. Mío en tu habitación, solo los 2 segundos que hay que detener. Porque si no siento tu voz o tu olor, te extraño y te quiero ver. Tanto me falta todas esas noches tan soñadas, que me levantes a mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada. Me haces falta, bebé. Dime qué tengo que hacer pa' tenerte de una vez, pa' no poderte perder. Dulce, eres mi bombón. Te quiero melocotón. Por ti corro un maratón. Solo de la dirección. Tú y yo, queriendo más amor. Pa' mí no es suficiente. Yo quiero tu calor. Tú y yo, con esa conexión, somos lo que la gente no ha visto de los dos. Tanto me falta todas esas noches tan soñadas, que me levantes a mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada. Mira, somos perfectos, es algo indiscutible. Mi estilo y tu estilo no están disponibles. Solo soy sensible cuando te tengo porque eres irresistible. Tus labios combinan con tus ojos, porque eres tan pretty que hasta yo de eso me antojo. Chica, necesito mis anteojos. Quiero verte en noche hermosa de todos modos. Tú y yo, queriendo más amor. A mí no es suficiente. Yo quiero tu calor. Tú y yo, con esa conexión, somos lo que la gente no ha visto de los dos. Tanto me falta todas esas noches tan soñadas, que me levantes a mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada. Tanto me falta todas esas noches tan soñadas, que me levantes a mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada.